Here we go.
Hey, welcome to KTROX. Technology rocks. And happy Mother's Day to all those British mothers out there.
Is it Mother's Day today?
In England, yeah.
Oh, it's English Mother's Day.
So,
did you call your mom?
Yes, at 5 o'clock this morning.
Oh, well, that's good.
So it was...
Oh, because you were up watching the Grand Prix.
Yeah. And it was 10. It was 9 o'clock her time.
So don't get it twisted. You weren't calling your mother to be nice. You were already awake because you were watching racing.
And I only knew it was Mother's Day because the British commentators on the Sky Sports feed were talking about it.
That's awesome. Hey, speaking of commentators, how is the commentator on the Apple TV coverage versus the
Apple TV people are rubbish.
Oh, are they?
On the actual main broadcasts, you can tune in through the Apple TV app. You can tune into the Sky Sports feed, which was the same feed that everybody else in the world gets.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Which is kind of confusing because they're all British. So if you're not British, then you don't understand half of what.
So you can't switch announcers like you could on the F1 channel, then. I thought the F1 channel you could actually switch the announcers, right? Or
yeah,
no?
you could choose international feed or you could choose local feed, and I didn't like the F1 people either. So they kind of try and drag in some famous people, but it's like you get used to the same commentators over the years. It's like, yeah, I really miss those guys. And then it's like, looked at the bottom and it said feed, so I clicked on it and it gave me all these options. You can pick data tracker or this feed or...
Well, I saw also you could watch one driver. Like you can pick, or you can do multi-screen with multi-driver. It's pretty cool how they're doing it then.
Yeah, I enjoy.
Or is that how it's always been and I'm just now seeing it for
It's kind of been like that. It was like that on the F1 TV app. You could pick up to 4 screens on there, but on this one I think they've got a multi-driver view.
I like the soccer commentators because when you're watching these soccer commentators from overseas and they score a goal, this little guy who's like 5'2" holler, "Goal!"
Oh, that's the Mexican way of doing it.
Oh, Ray is MIA today, so Byron's gonna be throwing shit. Sorry,
I throw at him as well. So
I did not beep. Sorry, that was a belated beep.
So we have Cardboard Ray today.
Cardboard Ray. Apparently, he's doing some top secret that he's going to tell us about next week. But, dear God, that was loud.
Who are we talking about? My little friend over there?
Yeah, no. When he coughs, it's like I could feel my ear flutter. All right, so he's doing he was called back out to Austin. I guess they're opening a new IMAX out there or something. Or I know he's been called out there a couple times. He was out there last week, and he's out there this week again. So
what did he said he was doing a screening. What does that mean?
That means he's got to test it. Yeah, they've got to test it. So basically, he's watching a movie. Yeah, it's fancy talk for watching it. Yeah, it says, unfortunately, I cannot call in now. I was able to earlier, but I'm doing the secret spy that I'll tell you guys all about next week. So it's...
That doesn't mean he's going to tell everybody. He's just going to tell us.
He's going to tell us, but maybe we'll broadcast it. Who knows?
We'll disguise it and clean it up and spread the sauce.
So that means I can't. What's funny is I'm just going to make fun of him all this show because I was really nice to him on the last show, and he said he hadn't listened to it yet. So, so I'm just like, all right, well, now I'm just going to tell everybody how big of a you are. So.
Poor Ray. Happy Mother's Day, Ray.
Happy Mother's Day, Ray. So Ian calls his mom because he's watching the Chinese Grand Prix. Byron's up late doing bike audio stuff because his friend didn't drop the bike off until 2 o'clock. Ian's TV is in Houston now, so whenever you want it. Yeah, and then Byron's Kaleidoscape's been missing in action for like 2 weeks.
They're waiting on hard disks for it.
I don't know.
It's in Houston at the UPS facility.
Well, no, because first it said FedEx, and then I guess they lost that one, and then we went to UPS, and then I get it. They send me another tracking when I checked on it again, and then it said order delay.
That sounds a bit dubious.
It's weird.
Like they haven't really sent anything out, but they're just telling you they have.
Well, the tracking number they gave last is at the UPS facility in Houston.
Yeah, so it's in Houston now.
I've got something similar, but it's nothing to do with technology. It was just I ordered something on eBay back on February the 5th, I think it was, and I didn't bother to check the seller's, feedback and whatever. But it turns out it was 75%. If I'd have read the feedback, I wouldn't have ordered the item. So after a week or two, there was a USPS tracking number, and I thought, okay. But
it didn't show up, or no?
It just said it was sitting on a pallet shipping somewhere in Minneapolis. I don't know, but it didn't come.
Nope.
So I emailed eBay and said, because it said it was covered by the eBay money back guarantee, and I thought, okay. So I emailed them, and in the meantime, I bought the item on Amazon. It was actually a bit cheaper, but eBay eventually, they replied and said, if you haven't received it by February the 21st, then reach out or whatever, and, we'll deal with the seller. Well,
No, freight's a mess.
but on February the 21st, I received an email before I even did anything from eBay that says, we've refunded your item. Oh, great, fine. Okay, so 2 days ago, I get an email from eBay with tracking for my item.
Yeah.
And it's now on its way, and it's in Dallas at the minute. But it's so they gave me money back, but it's still coming.
No, freight's a mess, and the bigger the item, the worse it is. And it really, since all of especially if it's an international item or it's crossing the borders and things like that, then that's getting even worse.
Yeah, I have a T-shirt that I bought that's coming from Poland.
Poland? Dear God.
Why do you buy T-shirts from Poland?
It was this special. I bought it off a Facebook ad. I didn't know the freaking company was out of the country.
My little Warsaw friend.
I didn't know it was out of the country. And then when they sent me the tracking, it was like Poland. I have this other item I got that came out of Sweden.
Oh, good grief.
And they both just hung up. They just both hung up in either the Sweden's customs or the United States customs.
Even when it gets here, you'll end up having to pay customs on it before they'll even deliver it.
Interesting. Yeah, no, so I actually kind of went into a few different rabbit holes on the technology rags and stuff, just kind of reading up on what's changing, what's going on. One interesting article that I found, because I had noticed there's a website that I check all the time called Sound and Vision, soundandvision.com. And so Sound and Vision.
You all right, Ian?
I'm choking on my tea.
You better keep breathing because you'll wake up and find the wrong person kissing on you.
Between you and Byron coughing yourselves to death,
Well,
Jesus.
it's my cup of British tea and I'm choking on it.
Yeah.
Hey, Justin, you better watch out. You find wake the wrong person trying to give him CPR.
I don't know, man. Who knows? Anyway, Sound and Vision hasn't posted anything since November of last year.
They just gone down the tube.
I guess. Well, so they stopped doing print publication in 2024, and then they kept the site open, and they were always reviewing, and usually they're a pretty dominant source for audio, video, and receivers, and projectors, and TVs, and all kinds of things, albums and stuff. And they haven't done anything new since November of 25.
Do you look at one called AV Forum?
I do. So I went into that one.
I've been on that one for years, but I just noticed the other day, I think it's British.
Oh, is it?
It's a UK website.
So Stereophile is British.
Because I was looking at,
Or it was British.
I was looking up some other reviews on the TCL TVs.
Right.
And
Which I've sold 2 more of those now.
it was kind of weird because the model numbers that they were referring to were different, but it turns out they're same TV but with UK model numbers.
Yeah.
And then it's like, they're talking in pounds sterling, not US dollars. So,
Right.
So I think, but because I've been on it such a long time, it may have been because prior to being here, I was there.
Yeah, it could be. But yeah, no, so I've kind of went into Audioholic and couple different other forums, and it seems like everybody's asking the same question. And if you go in it a little further, it looks like the former owner of that magazine has left that company. So I'm wondering if nobody's running it anymore. So it's which is sad, because that's like one of my things to go to and read online, and that even a professional enjoys. I use that, and there's another website called C-Pro that I use, which is C-Pro is more of the
That's an industry
professional thing. Yeah,
I get their. I still get their magazine.
Yeah, I love C-Pro. I don't like their magazines as much as I do the website. The magazines
There's some
are
interesting articles in there.
There are, yeah. Residential
Especially
Systems is another good one.
A lot of good networking and HDMI stuff.
Yep.
So on a different topic, what we're gonna do is, I sent you the 32-inch Hisense for $98.
Yeah. And how many of those did you buy?
I gotta talk to Justin. We're gonna make a scoreboard. We're gonna make a scoreboard in the middle of the theater. That way you can see it at all different angles and have it displays.
Oh, one like four in
Like 4 in a square or 3 in a triangle type.
Oh, you're like a sports bar, like a
like the Dallas AT&T with the big screen hanging in the middle.
I've seen people do that over pool tables and stuff. Yeah. Like a lot of people will do it over a pool table or in a game room or something. But yeah, no, you could definitely do that.
I thought Byron wanted to strap a few to each side of his motorcycle so he could be a traveling billboard.
That one is a tad bit too big, but give me some 20 inches, we'll make it work.
Jesus. Okay, yeah, no. So sound and vision, we don't know what's going on with it. It's a lot of folks are talking about it, and I kind of went into it just to see if there's any new gear coming out, because I know Onkyo's got a lot of stuff that's coming out, new stuff that's coming in 2027, not 2026. So we'll probably see it at this time. Cedia time this year, because they're doing a facelift on all their AV receivers, very much like Marantz did. And then Arcam is coming out with a bunch of new facelift stuff.
But all this stuff presumably is made overseas.
Yeah,
like,
all of it is.
Bowers and Wilkins is a UK company. Do they make in England or do they make in China?
They're China.
But do Bowers and Wilkins make an AV?
No, they don't make an AVO. That's just speakers. But yeah, no, Bowers & Wilkins is now predominantly Chinese now.
As probably are a lot of manufacturers.
Well, so you have to remember on the Bowers & Wilkins front, because they got absorbed as part of a conglomerate group that used to be called Sound United. And then Sound United owned Denon, Marantz, Polk, DefTech, Boston Acoustic, which is more of a name than it is anything else, and then so there's another one that Class A. So Class A it's an esoteric brand it's really high end amplifiers and preamps and whatnot. All right. So Bowers & Wilkins got absorbed into that category. Since then, that company has now sold 3 times, or sold twice. It's been sold to, that company got sold to a company called Massimo, which was a medical equipment company.
That was the people that Apple had a patent infringement against.
The heart monitor.
Yeah, on the watch.
Yep. And then they found out that they had no business running any type of company that handled hardware like that. So they sold it to Harman. So JBL, Rotel, not Rotel, sorry. JBL, Revell, Arcam, Soundcraft, JBL Synthesis, which is a different division of JBL, BSS, which is a London Blue, is a UK company. So they own all of those brands now. And then Samsung bought Harman. So Samsung now owns all of them. So they're all Korean now. Every company I just listed is all Korean. So it's interesting.
But they're still subject to tariffs and
Well, so TCL found a way to get around that. TCL actually moved their main factory out of Zhangjiang, China, and they moved it to Mexico. So
you mean their main factory that supplies the United States? or do you mean their main factory? That
I think their main factory that supplies the whole world is in Mexico. Yeah, they moved everything to Mexico, which is interesting. And
don't we have tariffs from Mexico as well?
Not as bad as the other. Yeah, not as bad.
That can change on a whim.
Well, true. All he's got to do is, pass gas on his McDonald's or something, and he'll tariff everyone. Yeah, no. So there's that. But no, they moved it to Mexico because they could manufacture TVs quicker and import them quicker than sitting on a boat waiting to get into California.
Yeah.
Because California taxes the Hades out of everyone. So that's coming in.
I guess they needed to do more quality control in their new factory.
Yes. No, there's a couple little idiosyncrasies and stuff, but I know two people that are going to buy the XL11. One is Terry Daly, who had he's poor guy. He has a $34,000 JVC NZ9, and they can't get parts for it. It's been out of commission for 3.5 months now, and they're saying they're not going to have a part until possibly June.
That's ridiculous.
Then the salesmen have still been fighting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's ridiculous. When you look at the price of these kind of TVs, these TCL things, it's like, if it goes wrong, oh well, it's like,
right,
get a new one.
$3,000, $4,000, $2,000, whatever. So, well, here's what I would do. Here's how I would advise you to do it, or anybody to do it. So going back to Terry, he called me yesterday and was asking, because he's only 106-inch screen. He's just like you, 106-inch motorized screen in his main living room.
Okay.
And I said, well, if you're never going to open these damn windows anyway, just freaking put a TV there, because it's going to, even if it's the best projector in the world, the TV is still going to be brighter, sharper, and have more contrast. And I've never denied that, ever. In comparison to a projector, so even if it's
even with my Hisense,
no, I was not talking about your Hisense.
In my particular case, it's not going to give me the rainbow.
Well, the rainbow is what's called that's created by a particular projection technology called DLP. So all projectors would not give you the rainbow.
Not all projectors,
just DLP.
It depends
projectors.
On the color wheels and everything else, but
yep.
Like when I walked in today, it was like the beast was running, and it was like, whoa!
Yeah.
Somewhere over the rainbow was showing, I think, but then it turned out it was Star Wars.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But then you were able to sit there and watch it.
Well,
did changing your glasses help?
Not really, only with the focus. I was able to see in greater detail with the other glasses, but that was about it. It didn't really, but it was to do with the contrast. When I walked in, it was like
it was a black and white type of scene,
a black and white screen, and it was moving around and flashing and whatever, and it was like,
well, that was actually the first time I've watched a full feature-length film in that movie theater. And because usually I'm just demoing it, or I'm just watching Top Gun scenes over and over and over again until my head explodes. And so
I haven't noticed it on those things, on those demo things, but then they're not that high of a contrast. Whereas a Star Wars movie,
it's always really
there's a lot of black
and
white and and flashing around. And it's like, I'm seeing colours other people aren't seeing, and it's most distracting.
Yeah, no, and so he was in the same boat, and he called and he asked me, and I said, man, I would seriously consider looking at this TCL. I just installed the LG C6 yesterday, which is their highest end OLED. The TCL still gives it still beats the crap out of it. Yeah, and it just does. It's just that mini LED, SQD mini LED technology that they're using in that X11 is by far one of the best things I've seen this year, and I'm just going to continue to say that until I see something better, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying it's better, it's just a better picture that's come out this year. So, and we kind of knew that. We knew it going into it when I started reading about it and seeing the hype about it. We kind of knew, the grid pattern, the multiple processors that it's using. It's faster than the other televisions at 240 hertz refresh. So many different advantages to that thing. So, and then Stephen Foster's projector intermittently started having an issue. Again, it's a Sony 995 ES $30,000 projector. Here we go again, and
that's not a huge room, is it? Really?
No. Well, remember he has an alcove.
Yeah.
And it can only fit a 100-inch screen.
Yeah.
And so he asked me, well, let's look at projectors and things, and I'm like,
put a TV in.
It's what I just said. That's what I told him to do. So here's the reason I would put a TV in. Because so a TV has a 1 year warranty, and the 1 year warranty on a TV you can get now through a company called New Leaf. You can get a 5-year extended warranty. So it's like having a 6-year warranty on your TV. So here's how that works. That particular TV or that particular warranty will do one of three things. They either repair it on site. If they can't fix it, now there is a caveat to that. If you have it mounted on the wall, it must be pulled off the wall before they can service it. So if you're going to wall mount it, you need to make sure you have a team that comes over and pulls it off the wall, because that repair center will not pull it off the wall for you. Right. So that's number one. So it covers fixing it. If they can't fix it, they have to replace it.
You basically have to get it on face down on a flat surface so they can work on it.
Correct. Yeah. No. So they're going to fix it. If they can't fix it, they're going to replace it. Meaning if there's not parts available, they're going to just replace it. If they can't replace it with something available of like quality, then they will write you a check for the full value of the TV. And it's
the full purchase value or a
purchase value,
not prorated.
No, it's what you paid for it originally. So you can buy a different piece of hardware. So that's cool. I like that. It's not super expensive to do it on that. So on the X11's a $10,000 TV, right? Yep. So that particular style warranty is going to be about $1,200, but $1,200 in the grand scheme of things, as something happens to it 3 years later, pays for itself. You know, if you divide the math, you know, it's only a few hundred bucks a year. So to me, it's worth it, because every TV you go with, whether it be the highest end warranty or not, every TV you go with is going to have a 1 year warranty. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's Sony, Samsung, TCL, Hisense.
I'm kind of
outside of computers. That's pretty much the standard. Huh?
It is standard for TVs.
I've never actually bought an extended warranty on anything.
Right.
So I might be a bit averse to doing that.
I wouldn't hesitate to do it at all, because the reason why is I know a guy who bought an $8,000 Bravia 9 Sony last year. 6 months into it, his main board went out because during a firmware update, it didn't take the firmware. Something happened during bricked it. And so as he was watching TV, in the middle of watching TV, boop, shuts it off, shuts his TV off. And then does it again, shuts his TV off, comes on again.
Can the average Joe buy parts?
Sony, yes. So Sony, there's just like for Bowers and Wilkins, there's a parts warehouse called Encompass, ENCOMPASS. And then they have a parts warehouse, but I'm not sure for TCL. I'm not sure how those work.
You know, the 70-inch Samsung that I've got downstairs was basically something that somebody gave to me because their house got struck by lightning and it no longer accepted HDMI input.
Right.
There are basically 3 boards in the back. The back pops off, and the board that I replaced, the HDMI input board, cost me $40 from eBay.
Right. Yeah. No, and there's a lot of sources where you can find stuff like that. Like I've got a Marantz that's in the same boat. There's a Marantz out there that has a bad HDMI board. I just ordered one online through Encompass because Marantz is Denon Marantz is an Encompass warehouse. So I got a new board for $125. Throw it back in there, and it's back on the road again. It's a good receiver.
That's what I'm saying, though. Yeah. But with more modern TVs, there's going to potentially be parts available compared to an older TV.
To me, if it's a $2,000 TV, I probably wouldn't do a 1-year warranty or 5-year warranty on it. But if it's a $10,000 TV,
Yes.
I would absolutely do a 5-year warranty.
Yeah, it's risk analysis, isn't it?
When the power board in my 82-inch Samsung went out, the guy came with another power board, and he took mine. And what he does is he fix the components on them,
Yep.
and then resell them again.
Yeah, and that's people have little side gigs like that work for them.
Yeah. So going into that, so that's 2 people now that have a 100-inch to 106-inch screen. Well, 3 counting you that have a 106-inch screen. Again, the market for a 100-inch projection screen is totally dead.
Yeah.
Like I haven't sold a 100-inch projection screen in the past probably five years. You know,
Like you said, the one out there that you've got is like a $5,000.
that's a 120. Yeah, that's 120 out
yeah,
there.
but
Right.
it's that kind of size.
Right.
So, comparing how much would a 100-inch screen be and a projector and
Well, you can get into 10 grand real quick.
Yeah.
Because a projector's going to be $6,000
Like
and then a screen's going to be $2,000.
throw a $3,000-$4,000 100-inch TV up and you're done.
Or throw 400-inch TVs up and then you got 200-inch.
Yeah.
That's what the grid.
Can you hang 400-inch TV?
Yeah, you can. There are mounts that do that. So there's a mount by Legrand that's just basically a straight bar that you would have a straight bar for the top row of TVs and a straight bar for the bottom row of TVs, and then it keeps them all. It keeps all the geometry right. Because it is a geometry nightmare when you do video walls and things, but you're getting better now.
You're going to have the lines in between, so it's not for...
You're going to have a grid, yes.
It's not for your viewing pleasure, it's for a video wall, advertising, or menus.
Yeah. Well, or you go the micro LED route, which the micro LED route will be cheap at some point or affordable at some point, I would say within the next decade. Probably less than the next decade, but it's going to be one of those things where they got to get it baked first, man. You can't have a dedicated 20 amp power circuit and
I know,
leave it on all the time, and the heat that it generates coming off that board, and there's just a lot of stuff that's going on. And generators are an absolute nightmare on those electronics, because that's what breaks them the most is the brown power when it slams into those capacitors really hard with the generator, because it doesn't allow the device to do a soft shutdown before it gets hit with the power again. So,
well, I was going to say this week just gone, there's been a whole swath of consumer electronic stuff, like Apple just brought out this I think it's called the Neo MacBook, which is a
tested really well too,
and it's cheap.
Yeah, $500, I think.
500-600, and it's like it does everything you want. It's got the same processor as the latest Apple Pro phone, but they also brought out the new iPad Air, which I just got, but I'm upgrading from M2 to M4.
Not on purpose, by the way.
Why you don't like M4 again?
Why did what?
Why you don't like the Apple M4 chip?
No, he said he just got an iPad that was an M4, and I said not on purpose.
I didn't.
By the way,
it was anesthetic induced.
So apparently Ian has a shopping problem after he had his surgery.
Colonoscopy.
Yeah, his surgery.
Which to all my fans out there was negative.
Good. That's good to hear.
I don't have to have any more surgery, and I don't have to go back for 2 years.
Nice. Well, that's really, really good. Clean as a whistle, like we like it.
Oh, so. Yeah, definitely that.
But apparently he likes to buy iPads when under anesthetic.
Yeah, so I've got an M2 available if anybody's interested.
Nice. Yeah, well, that's the thing I know. So Apple released a new product. There's allegedly somebody leaked the Apple flip phone. Something I saw that on Macworld, and I'm like, man, can my phone just hold out till September? Probably not. but
I'm surprised it's even working today.
I know it's just the screen is got this lightsaber thing on the side of it and at the bottom of it now. We were at a wine and vinyl event, and party was going, music was going great, cranked up. My phone was going dead, and asked Shelly. I was like, hey, can I plug my phone in over here? Do you have a charger? She's like, yeah. So I plugged the phone in over there on the bar. Apparently party was going. Somebody knocked the phone off the bar, and then that's where the lightsaber came from. So I was just like, oh man. And
It's been like that forever.
yeah, I know. This was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
A year and a half ago. Yeah. It's whatever the last wine and vinyl event that we did.
That was the one I came to.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think
Which is
Heather
fun.
Heather was there and you were there.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I like that. That event was pretty
Was
fun.
that a 60s or a 70s one?
That one
I
was
can't
I don't remember. I think that was just anything goes on that
okay.
one. The first one was the biggest and best one we had was the 80s one where it was all 80s rock and 70s 80s rock. It was anybody from Led Zeppelin to Van Halen to Bon Jovi to Poison to all this stuff. And it was just, that one was the most fun because the 90s music, what was so hard about doing a wine and vinyl event of the 90s stuff is that the 90s stuff was so heavy and depressing. Half of those bands are dead. Think about it. Soundgarden is dead. Nirvana is dead. Linkin Park, dead. Blind Melon, dead. All these guys, none of them can put the original. Stone Temple Pilots, dead.
Yeah.
All of those bands, they don't exist anymore. And so it's so sad, to do that. And I didn't realize how heavy their music was when we were doing 4 hours straight of it. And I was like, good Lord, no wonder you guys are dead. 'Cause, yeah, it's just so depressing, man. But I'll have to ask Shelly, and it'd be fun to do a broadcast event, vinyl event and broadcast and stuff in the background. It'd be kind of fun.
KTROX goes vinyl.
Yeah, KTROX goes vinyl. Hello. Yeah, no. So, yeah, no, but going into that, I think, so Apple did its new thing. It came out with a bunch of affordable computers, which I think is a smart move for them.
And the one that surprises me is Motorola is still bringing out new phones. I thought
Motorola?
I thought they were dead in the water, but
they were dead. Last time I saw anything Motorola was the Peanut phone.
And they still call them the Razr, R-A-Z-R.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah.
That they they rejuvenated the...
Does anybody buy a Motorola these days? Well, they must do, otherwise they wouldn't keep making
Some
them.
people want to just go back to the flip phone and get away from social media and get away from all of that.
But these are smartphones.
Oh, well, then there's no point in it. What's the point?
Yeah. I don't know. Everybody reinvents the wheel every 5 minutes now.
Well, I would be interested in an iPhone flip phone just because it would protect my screen, unless they do the whole... It's a screen within a screen, and then you open it to a bigger screen. To me, that's a nightmare for me because I would just crack all of them.
It don't matter. Your screen protected, your battery don't last.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. So, also other news.
We just need to do it. We just need a GoFundMe for get Justin's new phone.
Yeah, I demand we have special ringtones. When we call, he knows us and answer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, he probably has got special ringtones. He knows it, so he knows it's us, and he
That's
does
why he
not.
don't
Well, when Byron calls, it's money, 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 money. Yeah, no.
That Pink Floyd song, Money. Cha-ching.
Yeah, yeah. No, so we're gonna. Apple's building a plant in Houston. It's going to be off 99.
Yep.
Yeah, they're going to do it somewhere off 9. I think over in your neck of the woods.
Isn't an apple plant a tree?
No.
Didn't they just build a new facility in Austin?
No, they're building one here. Well, maybe. I don't know. But this is supposed to be just for Mac Minis and laptops is what they're doing here.
I'm gonna get me
So that'll be interesting.
Justin stopped taking my money. I'm getting me a MacBook Pro.
I would stop taking your money.
Because I have a MacBook Air from 20.
I didn't take your money. Sonos took your money.
What's the difference between an Air and a Pro?
Power and processing.
Pro, the Air is lighter.
And it's small. The Air got a 14-inch screen. The one I want is like a 15.
Like this one right here on this tabletop is an Air.
Yeah, well, that's like.
But it's an older one.
But I got the Air, didn't I? I can't remember.
I think so.
Yeah, but it was a couple of years old, but it was a bargain.
Yeah, this is mine's.
That's what I mean. Occasionally, you can buy renewed or refurbished from Amazon or many of these other retailers, and you actually get a reasonable deal.
Well, I refuse to get rid of mine because I like USB ports. I don't like the freaking dongle with the USB-C brick. I hate it. It's just another piece of crap I gotta carry.
The new ones have USB port.
See, I love it. That's why I've kept this one for so long, because it's
getting rid
USB.
of the Lightning. They're getting rid of the Thunderbolt port.
Okay, so this one's
Thunderbolt and
well. I thought they already got rid of the Thunderbolt.
Some of them still have it.
Oh, do they? Yeah. This one still has a Thunderbolt, but it doesn't work. Thunderbolt port's dead. No.
So what is Thunderbolt in everybody else's terms? USB-C?
No, Thunderbolt is.
It's the Apple.
It's proprietary.
It's like it's like the Lightning.
It's like the old Lightning charger connector too. Yeah, it's a proprietary thing now. But yeah, no. So there's a lot of interesting things. So Byron wanted to cover. Now that we're talking about expensive TVs and projectors and things that have broken, surge protection and how to protect yourself from that type of thing happening in certain ways. And
very important in this area.
Well, right. Especially with power filtration, and not only power filtration, there's different types of surge protection. There's what we call fall on the sword protection, meaning it sacrifices itself before it lets it get to your device, and a lot of different variations in surge protection and how to protect yourself. So a couple different ways an end user can get a surge, and the most common way, of course, is your receptacle, the 110 outlet. The second most common is, believe it or not, actually coaxial and network surges.
Coming in from outside and through your modem, blow up your Ethernet.
But it never blows up your modem.
No, it doesn't.
It never blows up your modem or your cable box. That's the stupid part.
Labor Day 2021?
I don't remember, but it did. You got smacked good because your receiver wouldn't connect to the network anymore.
No, the Wi-Fi card, it created it. So what happened? It came in through the cable modem, and went from the cable modem through the Cat5 to the router, then through my 16-port switch.
Yeah. So how do you protect yourself on that? So there's a couple different ways.
Start at the top with a whole house surge protector.
Well, but that only connects the power side. That doesn't protect you on the coaxial or the network side. So yes, so that's the most common. So here, I'm so happy you said that, because the most common thing someone will say to me is, I said, well, it sounds like you get a power surge. The first thing out of their mouth was, well, Justin, I have a whole house surge protector. And then I said, well, it doesn't matter because it's not protecting your coaxial line or your fiber line or the network line that's coming through your home.
And all of which come to the house mostly under the ground.
Right.
And if you have a local lightning strike, you're going to fight.
Or go to the post. Yeah, it strikes the post. They all come to somewhere in your neighborhood. There is a centralized post, either in your front yard or your neighbor's backyard, and that is the main distribution point for all of the services that are coming into those particular neighbors. So, so how do you protect yourself? So there's a couple different ways. One, the method that I enjoy using the most for all that. And here's why it happens through the network line. Let me just back up for a second. So here's why it happens through the network and the coaxial line is that power, that surge is actually finding the quickest pathway to ground.
Yep.
Your modem is a two-prong power cable. It is not grounded. Your cable box is a two-prong power cord. It's not grounded. Your switch is a two-prong power cord. It's not grounded. But guess what is grounded? Your subwoofers, your AV receiver, your projector. Most televisions that are higher end televisions will have a 3-prong power cord. Help me. Let's see here. Printers, 3-prong power cord. So basically, your computers, anything that has a 3-prong power cord, meaning that center prong on that particular IEC cable, it will find its way to ground, and it could be catastrophic going through that particular device and through your switches and everything else, and can also take things out along the way, like switches. And it doesn't ever take out the modems or the cable boxes, but it always takes out your hardware. So there are different ways to protect yourself. One, there are really good surge protection companies out there. If you want to go with the really high end, you can do a Furman or a Panamax, a SurgeX, lots of different ways, shapes, and forms. But you don't have to. I mean, you can go...
Well, my problem with surge protectors is they're great if you go over the 120 roughly voltage, which is is a surge. But a lot of the issues we have around here are where the power drops below brownouts. Yeah. I mean,
and we'll get to that. So that is actually caused more by generators than it is.
No, I mean, we had one this morning. It was actually more than a brownout. Actually, power went off for a minute, but it was very windy, and when it's windy, the power line is going to blow around. And the other day, I was sitting in the house, and I heard the lights dimmed briefly. And 3 seconds later, I heard boom, and it was a transformer down the road. So it's a thunder and lightning effect. It was, the lights dimmed immediately, but the sound took that long to travel. But I thought, I'll get transformer. Didn't actually cause complete power failure, but it dropped below a certain voltage.
Yep. So there's a couple of ways you can protect yourself with that too. One, whole home surge is one way to do it. Two, you can actually just go into your breaker box. Well, I would advise calling an electrician.
Yeah, just
99.99%.
breaker box. Stick a couple of fingers in.
Yeah, no.
With a screwdriver.
Go to the breaker box that you can buy actual particular breaker that has built-in capacitors that will allow that circuit to shut down safely up. It's like a 30-second capacitor is what it is. So it allows your stuff to fall off before it cuts power to it. And then if it pops back on, it is a slow start to your stuff, and they're a little bit more on the pricier side. They're a few $100 a piece, but it's still cheaper than a few $1,000s. So if you isolate the breakers for like your theater or your living room or your IT closet or multi-zone audio closet where you got a lot of stuff, then it's probably something you want to look into so you can shut one of those things down safely. So a lot of cool stuff, a lot of fun stuff there. All right, so going back through that, there's a couple different ways you can protect yourself. So you can do a power center route, which we just talked about, either through one of those companies. You can do just a high-end surge protector. When I say high-end, guys, you don't have to spend a lot of money to protect yourself here. So what I like to do is I like to put a surge protect. If it's a cable modem where you're doing a standard coaxial input and then output of that cable modem, the line coming into the house, the coaxial line, before it gets into your modem, they have a power strip now, and they've had they've had these things forever. Just people ignore them. So you screw the coaxial line into this surge protector, and then you use a jumper to go out of that surge protector into your modem. It will stop the problem right there. It will cost you maybe $60 to $100 to get a decent one, but it is worth its weight in gold because of the catastrophic things it can cause downstream of that.
Yeah.
So you can also do the same thing for your network cables. Now, if you're going to do it on the network side of it, you need to make sure whatever surge protector you're using is gigabit compliant, because if it's not, it will slow your network down. And that is one thing that you have to... Ian had a technical difficulty with his coffee cup. Yeah, there you go. So that's another way to protect yourself on the network side of it. Guys, protect yourself. There's no reason not to. You can do it.
Well, I use battery powered backup things. Like I've got them all over the house for wherever there's a computer or cable modem, whatever. And I believe some of those have those cable input and output surge protection type devices built in as well. Some of the bigger tower ones,
Right.
but I've never hooked one of those up because my biggest problem is like the power goes out for even if it's a minute, but usually less than that, a brownout that can fry something electrical.
Yes. No, that's what I mean when that's what we mean by brown power, dirty power.
You think about the number of calls we've had where people call and say, even people like Stephen Foster, it turns out it's like basically had a power outage.
Yep.
Of a brief interlude that stuff didn't go off, but because the supply dropped to say 80 volts for a couple of seconds.
Yep.
That piece of electronics, it's like, well, power it off, power it on again. And that usually solved the problem. And that's a regular occurrence around here.
So think about it another way, too. So the second response we get, Ian and I both get, are number one would be, but I have a whole home surge protector. Yep, that's number one. Number two is, but Justin, I have a whole home generator. Well, let me tell you about your generator for a minute.
And do not plug the printer in a UPS.
Why? What's wrong with plugging a printer in a UPS?
Because it would print garbage.
Really? I didn't know that.
Occasionally.
Oh, that I didn't know. I haven't seen that one. So the generator side of things, and generators are popular because anytime in some of these larger neighborhoods, like if you're in Bender's Landing or something like that, Carlton Woods, a frog jumps off a freaking log or he farts, the power is going to go out. And a lot of people are rushing out and getting these Generacs. Nothing wrong with Generacs, nothing wrong with Briggs & Stratton. However,
Cola.
it's the way these things come on that smack your equipment. So your air conditioners, your pool pumps, your high-end home theater equipment, your high-end living room equipment, your multi-zone audio, all that stuff. Just because you have a generator and a whole house surge protector, none of those things stop that initial jolt as your generator kicks on. So here's what happens. Is if you lose power, it usually takes a generator a good 30 seconds or less.
15, 30.
Yeah, to pop on. And when it pops on, the problem is that's not enough time for your equipment to catch up and roll over before it gets slammed with power again. And then if it's a situation where the generator comes on, but then the power comes back on as well and the generator shuts off, now it just got hit again. I see more catastrophic damage from generators on non-protected, using non-protected fall on the sword technology or non-fall on the sword technology with high-end components, and it just shreds them because it'll just kill every capacitor inside of that component when it goes into dirty power and then it gets slammed. Guys, it's the same thing as if you were to run your system full blast and I were to yank the power cord out of it and then plug it back in real quick. It's the same. You're doing the exact same thing. Most electronic components, even if you pull the power plug out of it, will still stay. You'll still see that it has power for about 10 seconds before it finally goes back to sleep.
I've seen computers. You can it'll have a little LED on the power supply on the back. You pull the plug out and you sit and watch it. It could be 30 seconds, could be 45 seconds.
Right.
Some HPs, it's like they're on for a minute after you've pulled the power out the back.
Yep.
Or at least that LED is, but it doesn't mean the computer's powered up. There's not enough power to power the computer, but it's still, the power supply hasn't wound down and cooled off, as if that's the right thing. And
that's the capacitors in the power supply.
Right.
They got to discharge.
But
Yeah.
similar with refrigerators. If you've got a refrigerator and the power drops briefly, but the compressor was running and the power comes back on, it can kill the compressor. So I use a surge suppressor, if you like, that plugs into the wall, that if it detects the minutest drop in power, it will shut off power completely for 4 minutes.
Yep.
Gives the compressor a chance to rest, and then it turns it back on. If the power's on, it will turn the refrigerator back on, and that was like, okay, yeah, I'm good.
So there are things you can actually get very similar to that for your air conditioner as well. Your AC compressor outside. Yep, soft start. You can do a soft start on your AC compressor and a soft start on your pool equipment. If you have a swimming pool with these giant motors that all run on 240 volt, you can do soft starts on them. And what a soft start does is when it detects power, it stops it right there, and then it allows it to turn on gradually, as opposed to a wham, like a big slap on your equipment.
Well, when you look at an AC unit, an outdoor AC unit, that's like basically a motor and a compressor.
Right.
When that powers up, when it gets the signal from thermostat and it powers up, the draw without a soft start is this is why those AC units have like 30 amp circuits dedicated, because it will pull 25 amps.
Right.
For an instant, like, I don't know, maybe a split second, but with a soft start, it goes down to about 7 amps. I know because I tested mine.
Right.
And we tested it before and after soft starts being installed, and that was the difference.
Right. Which, in that difference, will save you 10 grand.
Yep.
If it hits your AC compressor, it hits your pool pump, your gate control. I'm telling you, it's just because you have a whole home surge protector does not mean you're protected. Again, we have to think about the villain we're dealing with here. And the villain we're dealing with is going to find the fastest way out. It's going to find ground. It wants ground because it came from the sky. It's going through your system. It's going to find the way out the quickest way possible. And most of your high-end stuff has a 3-prong power cord. And even worse, your TVs, everything. You know, I've seen it blow HDMI ports. I've seen it blow gate controllers off the side of houses. I've seen it blow network cards. And Byron's, for instance, his AV receiver had a blown network card. I've seen it blow switches. I've seen it do lots and lots of different, I've seen it blow recliners, powered recliner motors. And there's ways you can protect yourself to make sure those things are protected. Now, here's the thing. Nothing's foolproof because electricity is going to do it. You're not going to outsmart it. It's faster than you are. But there are good pieces of equipment that you can do that'll cost a few $100, where I would much rather pay a few $100 than several $1,000, like some of these guys are having to do with $35,000 projector that's going out, things like that. The other type of surges I see are coming if you have an older system and you're using a cable box. If you're using anything that is hooked into your network, either coax distribution or Cat6 distribution, and it's going into your cable box, guess what? That cable box is not grounded. And it can come through the HDMI port on your cable box and go right into your gear. And it'll blow up everything in its pathway if it finds a 3-prong power cord, meaning AV receiver ports, projector ports, AVR outputs, TV inputs, all kinds of things. Now, sometimes you can just move it to the next port and it'll fix it, but it's only going to fix it for a little while because the circuit is now compromised.
And the cable's probably fried as well.
I've seen it blow up HDMI cables too. I had an HDMI cable on a surge where it actually sparked out of the HDMI cable as I was plugging it into the AV receiver, and it was a good one. It was an Audio Quest. I mean, it was a very high-end cable, and it would send the receiver into protection mode. Anytime I put the cable into it, it goes and it would shut the receiver down, because it had a short circuit in it that was putting more than 5 volts. So an HDMI signal is 5 volts. The reason why we didn't have this type of problem 20 years ago is because we were using component video and RCA and S-video, which is all 1/4 of a volt. You know, it's not even a full volt, but 5 volts is just enough to pull.
When you think like component video, it's a 3-way shielded. It's just 3 wires. HDMI. How many pins are on HDMI?
16.
Right. So you got 16 wires crammed
Jesus,
into that.
I remember that.
You got 16 wires crammed into the same diameter as 3 on a.
Yep. And it carries at all times 5 volts. All times.
But if you send the voltage that you're getting from, say, a lightning hit close by, that's going to be a hell of a lot more, and it's just going to it's going to melt that cable before it even gets to the end of it. But it will still get to the end of it and
go out. And there are also products you can get that will protect your HDMI, your investment on the HDMI port. Ethereal makes one. Metra makes one. Sanus makes one that is a little dongle that you put between the HDMI and your equipment, and then it costs you about $130. So yeah, it does add up, but it's still cheaper than a TV that's $10,000.
Yeah. So you basically got to air gap any network connection to the outside world, and
anything that's coming in outside and inside, there's about an 80% chance it's not ground. It should be ground by law. It should be grounded.
That's what I found. The earth ground for the rod that goes in the ground that comes from the cable box was not connected.
Yep.
It was just laying on top of the rod.
Yep.
So I had to take it and actually put it in the connector that screws it to the rod.
And those things come loose as well.
Well, this one ain't came loose. This one just was never connected.
No.
So, it's an interesting thing, and it all depends on how they drive. Did you know that it makes a difference on how they drive the rod in the ground? So I had a master electrician correct me on this, and it was actually, I was fascinated by how he told me, because there was a time where Comcast didn't put a grounding rod, and we put a grounding rod. We got a 10-foot auger bit, went 10 feet into the ground, and then ran a copper pole. And then the master electrician said, actually, no, that's not the way you want to do it. You actually want to do, there is a special tool that you use to drive
because you want the most surface area contact. If you drill a hole, you're going to have
That's exactly what he said. He goes, if you're using an auger, as easy as an auger is, and as easy as that pole will go down, even if you fill the hole with dirt, you're not going all the way to the bottom of that hole.
Right.
Whereas if you're driving it down, it's the tightest fit that goes all the way down, and so then it is properly grounded. The average grounding pole needs to be at minimum 6 feet, is what they say. So, and you can buy them from Home Depot. There, you can buy a grounding rod at Home Depot. It costs you about $60, $70. But go out to the side of your house and look at where your coaxial cable is coming into the home. If it is not grounded, you are not protected. So even if you protect yourself with the surge protector method in that, what we call the D-mark or the home run, I would say go ahead and put a grounding rod in, because it's like a double hit. It's like a double protection.
Probably doesn't apply with fiber to the home.
I don't know enough about fiber.
Well, fiber is not going to conduct electricity in the same way that copper wire does.
Right.
But where it goes to a box on your house, it's then converted to copper, like an Ethernet cable.
Right.
So that box
it's called the PON. There's a little thing that attaches called a PON, and then that PON gets 110 from your house,
and that needs grounding.
And that would need grounding. But most of the time, those PONs are grounded cables.
Yeah.
So back in the old days, you would go in fact, a lot of you have homes where you still have this. If you go up in your attic, your main home run for Xfinity will be plugged into a 110 outlet in your attic. Guess what? It's not a grounded AC adapter either. It's just a 2-prong brick is all it is, and then you have a coaxial that's your D-mark has an input output. Your coaxial input screws right into that. And then the coaxial comes out of that. So it's actually pretty interesting how all that stuff works. But yeah.
Think about this. You remember back in the day when they had the gray 3-prong to 2-prong adapter?
Yeah.
with the little metal piece on top that they want you to screw to the plate with a socket that holds the socket in for grounding.
Yep.
That was ludicrous.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, that's what I would say is, and in fact, I think Xfinity has gone away from that thus far. I don't think they're using that adapter anymore in the houses.
No, but there's another thing that comes into all this, because when we had the house that I'm in, when it was first inspected, the inspector that came and looked at it was pulling the electrical system apart, saying there's all sorts of things wrong with it, and I had to get a master electrician to come out and check it. But they were talking about neutral ground bonding, and he was claiming that the white wire inside the box was actually connected to the ground as well, as if it was like, and apparently that's a common thing that is done, but it depends on the codes and the areas that you live in, how old the houses are. But some houses can have the neutral side is actually grounded.
Well, even a satellite dish is grounded. You know, even they even ground those that are outside too with a proper grounding rod. But that's something that an end user can check. Go out to the side of your house, and usually it's where your power meter is where the service provider brings it into the home, and protect yourself. You know, there's no reason not to.
I don't think just a visual isn't good enough. You need to actually, the copper wire that's supposedly screwed into that grounding rod, you need to wiggle it, and if it moves, no, you need to get something to tighten that down. I've had to do that 2 or 3 times. They come loose.
Yeah, no, they do. Well, it's in a lot of times, and that's actually, I'm glad you said the word "come loose," because a lot of times people are like, "Well, it's a loose cable." Well, how does a cable loosen up? And it's like, well, it's an organism, just like, I mean, it's not a living organism, but it has an organic compound that puts it together. It expands and contracts with hot and cold. So think about it. Your AV receiver heats up, and then you shut it off, and it gets cold, and then it heats up again and shuts off, and it gets cold. And then that's how all that stuff happens. But you got to protect yourself and make sure your investment. If you want an evaluation, somebody just shocked the shit out of himself on the door.
Every week.
Every week, somebody just smacks the heck out of themselves on that door. Yeah, no. If you want a in-home evaluation, we're happy to do that for you. Whether Ian or myself can come out, take a look at what's going on, and just see if you're properly protected. But it's worth it, even if you're spending. If you're spending anywhere from $600 to $1,200, even if it's upward into $2,000, I'm telling you, it's going to save you money in the long run because you're protecting yourself. It's when you're unprotected, that's when the catastrophic stuff can happen on that one.
And that's a small price to pay for the amount of equipment you're trying to protect.
Oh my goodness. Like no joke. Yeah. No, I mean, I've seen it do $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 of damage in a room. It blew the bulb out of his projector. Like, it blew the bulb out of the front of the projector. I mean, it was just, I've never seen anything like that. But he had his main trunk for his network in his home theater closet, and it wasn't hooked into a surge protector. So the main demarc line, and it went right into his theater room rack, and it just slammed everything on that rack.
Call it dirty power.
Dirty. Well, yeah, no, it is. It's dirty power. Well, and I'm glad you said that. So, because we're going into it, there's a hullabaloo about power filtration and affecting audio quality and your performance quality. So here's the thing, and I'm going to say it this way: is everybody says, you know, that changing your power cables and changing power filtrate or adding power filtration and all that stuff is a bunch of mumbo jumbo, snake oil, hokey pokey stuff. But your power is dirty. Your power has spikes. So what these power centers by Furman and Surgex and Panamax and Wattbox, and there's tons, Tough Dog, I think, is another, or Big Dog is another one. What these guys do is they do what's called linear power forming. So as the power gets in, if it drops below a certain threshold, then it has capacitors that are charged up that keeps it to a standard standard capacity, so you don't ever get the dirty power that comes into your audio equipment that actually can damage your audio equipment or your video equipment.
So what I do is I have a home generator. So power has to be out 20 seconds before the generator kicks in.
Yep.
But when your own generator and go back to line power, is no delay.
Right.
So what I do is everything that's important, like the cable modem, the Wi-Fi, anything of importance that I don't want clicking off and on or whatever, I put on the UPS.
Right.
And you can, especially UPS on my computer, you can hear it all day during the day. Click, 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 click.
Yep.
You know, when the power spikes and when it goes down. But the UPS acts like a filter also.
Well, there are UPSs that are made for computers, and then there are a little bit higher quality UPSs that are made for your home theater system or a high-end living room system or a rack. And it's two different type of animals, because typically the ones that are made for a home theater or made for an IT closet or something like that can hold more current. So it's not as abrupt when you have these giant amplifiers trying to go tick, 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 come on all at the same time as they're coming on. In fact, we had one UPS, even it was a high-end UPS that was made for home theater technology. And the home theater technology stuff, he had Macintosh in this room, and the Macintosh has such a high current draw that it smacked the hell out of that UPS, and it just went boom, and it even shut the UPS down because you had all these high current amps trying to come on at the same time. In fact, most Macintosh, they'll tell you not plug them in. They will tell you to not plug them in to a surge protector. They'll tell you to plug them straight into the wall because they can colorize sound or whatever. But allegedly, Macintosh, that type of equipment, has built-in capacitors and its own protection and fuses in place to where they tell you not to hook it into a protector.
And don't get it confused. There's a difference between a UPS and the line conditioner.
True. Why don't you share the difference between those two?
Well, the line conditioners make sure that you don't get the dirty power per se. You're getting a constant feed going to your equipment with no spikes and no peaks and valleys per second. Where UPS side is, you just, in case you lose your line power, then you got a battery backup and your equipment is not switching on and off for that sense.
Right, but a UPS is, I think, something that needs to be there for every piece of electronic equipment. I mean, for example, modems and cable boxes and things like that, they take time to reboot, to power up. And if the power goes off for a split second, then it may power off and power back on again, and it might not reboot properly. So a UPS, even the basic APC or CyberPower UPS, I think is an absolute necessity for anywhere you've got a computer or AV equipment, even if you don't have any other kind of protection.
And the best thing about UPS is it acts as a filter.
Yep.
It will filters that dirty power out to a certain extent and protect your equipment.
Well, you can also get the UPSs as well that have the coaxial and network connections built into them as well.
The catch on the network connection side is
got to make sure they're gigabit. Yeah,
you got to make sure they're gigabit, because then that's most of the new ones. The old ones, you capped out at 100 meg.
Yep. And here's the thing about that, sports fans: if it's plugged into that circuit, it's gonna slow you down. So,
in actual fact, I think
it'll bottleneck.
Even residential equipment now, I think you can get 10 gigabit.
So, interesting question that we had from one of our listeners that kind of tie right into what we're talking about right now, and it was really for you two, even though I know we all know. I mean, I know this as well, as Byron clears his nose.
He has to amplify everything.
No, you do, because you're on a microphone. So, The question is guys, how often should I replace my network switches and hardware throughout my home? And as they age, will it start causing my network to slow down? It's two-part question. And then why does it cause the network to slow down as they age?
My comment is, it might be a little harsh, but it's run to failure. That's
Say what?
Run to failure.
Oh, run to failure.
What does that mean?
And replace it when it bricks.
Exactly. Run until it dies.
Okay.
I disagree, because I think I've seen and replaced network switches which you think are working, but then you're not getting the speed out of them at the other end.
But if you got any network speed sensitive equipment, you're going to know when it stopped working. Think about it.
Not necessarily.
Think about it in the commercial side. I manage 30 plants, and we got anywhere from a 10-port switch to a 48-port switch.
Yeah.
You cannot, from a financial standpoint, from a downtime standpoint, from a physical standpoint, you cannot go in those plants and rotate and do life cycles on switches. You know what I'm saying? Because number one, it'll cost you a small fortune. Number two, you can't accept the downtime. So you run into failure and have a standby switch right there on site to where your downtime is like 5 to 10 minutes.
I don't think you should be running it to failure. I think you should be running it to a point where you've got some kind of diagnostic that will tell you that it is not performing to the standard.
These are managed switches, but again, it's a switch. It's not like we run now. Firewalls, we do firmware upgrades. We do life cycle cycling through. But just a regular switch,
that's in a commercial environment. If you've got switches in your house,
well, they dumb switches.
They're dumb switches on the most part. Some of them are semi-smart. Some of them are fully smart, depending how high tech you get. But I mean, I've had a situation where I thought things were working, but the PC, when I did a speed test on it, it's like reporting that it's only running at a tenth of what the next PC to it is working at, and it could be one port, it could be the whole switch, but
they could have been a network card in the PC.
But if you swap out the switch, which is the easiest thing to do for testing purposes, because you don't have to dismantle anything, you just unplug one and plug a different one in and then retest it, and if everything's working, if it's the same result, then it's like, well, then yes, you could be right, it's the PC network card.
Because my Netgear 16-port switch, I have a lifetime warranty. So when the switch fails, when this switch fails, it auto reboots. And no, I'm sorry, it hangs up. It just stopped sending traffic, period. Then I pull it out, put my spare in, send it back to Netgear. They send me another one, and that switch only costs $100.
So both have valid points. We get this call a lot, and typically when we get this call, it's what I call the network speed test junkies. These people will literally, yes, I'm talking about you if you do this, and no, I'm not sorry for it. So these people will literally go around their home every 5 seconds and run the Nokia speed test app. And I'm going to get to that and tell you how to run that speed test properly in a second, because most of you are doing it wrong. Yes, I said you're doing it wrong. So
even me.
Yeah, well, right. Yeah, no. So I wish Gavin was here, actually, because Gavin, this is one of the first things that he learned when he was working with me, and this is when I started seeing the excitement. Gavin's very new to the AV industry, and this is where I started seeing the excitement of making itty-bitty tiny changes to something make big differences, right? And so to Byron's point and to Ian's really point, and because I kind of disagree a little bit on the Byron one, but I understand his point of view on the commercial side of it. So I lean more toward the Ian way, but because a network switch, I'll tell you, a network switch is the hardest, besides your modem, it's the hardest working device in your home. It never sleeps. It never shuts down. It never goes dormant because all of these devices never stop communicating. So
and a lot of switches these days actually supply power to devices they're talking
right,
to. Like
the
cameras.
PoE, yeah, they can
PoE
run up.
switches,
They can
so-
run up to 30 watts or
Yeah.
30 plus watts and keep going from there. So
Oh, wait, let's back up a minute.
what
Home theater devices take PoE?
home theater devices? Not many,
Only thing-
unless
only
it's
thing-
like a Balun,
Right. The only thing that takes PoE is cameras, right? For the most part.
or an access point. Wireless access point can do PoE.
Yeah. But I mean, when it comes to in the whole grand scheme of home theater part, it's
Nothing really, unless it's you're using an HDMI extender instead of an HDMI cable. That's about the only thing that you would need that would use PoE. As home theater starts to progress, there's actually a thing called Dante that's out there where Savant is actually doing a lot of beta testing with IP controlled speakers, meaning speakers that are powered via Cat5 instead of a traditional amplifier. So that's kind of an interesting technology that I've been playing peekaboo with.
kind of Sonos on steroids.
It's a little doughy, it's not quite baked yet, but it's got some really cool things about it that you could do with it. So, okay, so moving into that. So we get to this home, giant home, and they're saying, well, this Apple TV keeps locking up in the theater room and things in here keep pausing, and it's all hardwired to the network. Open the network closet, you see little blinky green and yellow lights on the switch. Looks great to me. And so I kind of had an idea of what was going on, but it was a good training moment for Gavin. So and I'm going to train you guys the same way I trained Gavin. So what you need is a device, like a laptop, that you can hardwire into this circuit. And what you do is what we did is we plugged it into the switch first, shut everything down on the computer except for the browser, shut all the plugins for the browser off, just had the one speed test thing open, and then I ran a speed test. And it was maybe 150, 250, it flexed from 150 to 250, so somewhere in there, which was awful because they're paying for a gigabit. So that's awful. You should be within
600-700.
Yeah, you should be within 20% of what you're paying for, depending on how long your Cat 6 run or Cat 5 run is.
What time of day it is.
There's that too. So I went to each port on the switch, and Gavin's like, well, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm just playing with the switch here. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to unplug everything from the switch. So we did. Unplugged everything from the switch, did a speed test, same speed test, didn't change. And I'm like, all right. So now we're going to take the Cat 5 cable that's coming out of the wall into that switch, and I'm going to plug that in my laptop. Booyah. 850 download, 900 upload. It was where it was supposed to be. So that tells me the bottleneck was either the patch cable going from the switch to the wall, or it was the actual network switch itself. So the cool thing in this particular situation, it was actually the network switch. So that was actually kind of cool. So now Gavin's all cocky because he knows how to do it, right? He's like, oh yeah, no, I know how to do it. I was like, all right, well, let's go to the circuit in the living room because it was doing the same thing in the living room. Let's go to the circuit. So he's like a puppy on a puddle pad. He's all excited and he's doing this and he's doing this, and you can see the gears. And I'm actually really excited to watch him do this because it's like, all right, he's got it. He's learned something here. Okay, cool. So he starts doing the same thing I did. He unplugged the network switch, or he unplugged everything from the switch, plugged the computer in, and it was actually fast. It was actually 900 download, 910 upload.
It's what you expect. What you would expect it to be from that one port.
From that one port. Okay. Yeah, exactly. On the switch. But yet everything hanging on the switch was slow.
Yeah.
So what's funny is like, okay, so now we're going to go on each port of this network switch and see if we can find what the anomaly is. I think it was like port 6 out of the 10-port switch that was slowing it all the way down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10 were fine, but when we got to port 6, our network speed took a dump, and that was it. And it was just like, wow. So whatever was but the problem is when you plugged that one port into that switch, everything before and after also slowed down. So that's me. What does that mean? Well, it means that switch got hit on, and guess what? It was the same cable that went from the AV receiver, which is a 3-prong power outlet, to that network switch. So he got a surge that came into that switch, out of the switch to the shortest pathway to ground, hit the AV receiver, didn't damage it. It just went out of the AV receiver and back into the wall and then out into the ground.
So if you left that port 6 unplugged, everything else worked fine.
Everything would be fine.
So basically, it's if you plug something into that switch and it kind of activates it and turns it on, then it's making noise, which is then killing the rest of it.
It slows everything else down. So here's what I would say.
One point on that same scenario.
Sure.
Now, in this case, it was the port, but you can have a device that when you plug into that network switch, that'll pull the whole switch down.
Absolutely. If it's an older device, absolutely.
Or a device got zapped.
A dodgy network card in that other device that's making noise and then feeding the noise into the
Sonos
switch.
used to do that back in E&I's early Sonos days. Sonos used to do that because Sonos creates an incredibly interesting traffic around on a network as these things talk across the network, to where if you're playing music, you can take a tone generator wand and actually hear music through the network line. And so it's creating a lot of heavy traffic that bogs down a lot of network switches. So Netgear actually has one, and everybody calls it different. Network has one called the ProSafe Plus, which has what's called traffic control. So traffic control is supposed to stop that, right? Like if you have a device that slows the switch down, isn't it supposed to just say, okay, this dude's really slow, but we're gonna speed everything else up?
Well, traffic control is more like load balancing.
Okay, because I know AT&T Uverse used to do that to network
but on the
switches too.
On the Netgear ProSafe switch, it's more like load balancing.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's not really, but that switch, the ProSafe edition of Netgear, they stopped making it.
Really?
Yeah, because their power supplies was crazy.
So used to, back in the day when there was AT&T Uverse and their cable boxes ran off networks, they would say, hey, you cannot have anything, you cannot have that plugged into a network switch. It must go into the wall, and only that gets to go into the wall because it had its own bandwidth it was talking to.
Since you mentioned Sonos, I got a question. So,
oh dear God,
the ERA 100s.
Yes.
When I first put them on, they
Yep.
both grabbed the IP address from my router.
Okay.
When I married them to the ARC soundbar, they stopped using the IP addresses. Mm-hmm. So how are they communicating?
The soundboard. So Sonos, that's a great question. So Sonos has its own internal intranet that it communicates with other devices. So it's not actually, so if you're using a mesh or you have them grouped as an accessory, then they're using that particular format of communication. They're not actually communicating through your Wi-Fi network.
So basically, in my terms, it's a VPN.
Yes.
And
essentially, yes.
When Sonos first started doing all this,
God.
they were using 2.4 gigahertz.
They were.
And at that time, so were Wi-Fi access points and
Everything.
routers. And
Yeah.
you
It's
only,
a mess.
if you had, there were, 9 channels on 2.4, and to get good separation, you needed to use 3 channels that were furthest apart. But if Sonos decided to use another 2.4 gigahertz channel in between 2 of your Wi-Fi ones, that could cause all sorts of problems.
Back then, you had to use a bridge. It was called a Sonos bridge that had to be hooked into the main router. And then that bridge is what broadcast to the other Sonos device. And then you had to put, if it was too far away, you had to put other bridges, which also created a catastrophic pain
like
in the
my
ass.
Zigbee. Not
Same.
my Zigbee.
Same thing. Well, not the same
not
thing,
the
but same
Zigbee.
concept. Yeah.
It's not Zigbee. What is it? Z-Wave.
Yeah.
So wait, so now if they don't use the 2.4 gigahertz, what they use something low band like 400?
I don't know. So that is it's kind of like Lutron Caseta or something like that.
Radio RA 2 was the best because it used such a lower frequency.
Well,
I think it was like almost the same as low as like 400 megahertz. I mean, it was the same as a car key fob.
It is their own proprietary thing that each and most Sonos devices broadcast their own Wi-Fi anyway, and they used to. They used to back in the day. Back in the day, they let us log in where we could actually turn that on or off.
Yeah.
If especially because most of the time you needed to turn it off.
Yep.
Because it was just a big giant mess. But they've gotten a lot better. I mean, back when he and I were doing it, man, it was just a plethora of problems.
But since with the advent of 5 gigahertz and more channels available, that it's become less crowded. Although the signal strength, it doesn't travel as far as 2.4, but it works inside a house.
Because I mean, when I installed the ARC and the speakers and married them all together, I mean, it was really, really, really easy. It was even easier for me to move the sub that was connected to another room to that room.
Yep.
And I mean, because I have a list of all the devices that my router issues DHCP IP addresses to. And the first two was the 2RA, and I was like, well, it's not connected no more, so I could get rid of them. But I just left it there because I wasn't quite sure on the communication path.
The most common problem I see with Sonos networks, and I think I've talked about this guy before. It's he's one of those Chat GPT guys that has to look up everything on chat, and we had just finished up his high profile synthesis theater, beautiful theater room. In fact, you can go on Facebook and see the pictures on it that we just posted. And he had mentioned in passing, he said, hey, do you guys work on Sonos? And I was like, yeah, what's going on with it? And he said, well, my music keeps cutting in and out. When that could be anything from music service to whatever. And he said, I thought it was my network switches, and I just replaced my network switches. And I was like, oh boy, you said switches. Okay, let's go down and look where your Sonos is at. So he had 2 network switches in this. He had 2 network lines coming out of the wall, one going to one switch, one going to the other switch. And then half of the Sonoses were going to one switch, the other half of the Sonoses were going to the other switch. I said, well, not only are you creating a network nightmare, your network has
introducing loopback and all sorts.
Yep. Yeah. I said your network has to be incredibly slow. And he was like, why? I don't understand why it would slow it down. I said, well, because you got to think about it. Both of these network switches are communicating with the router that's upstairs. Okay. So, and then your Sonos is creating traffic to try to find each other through that leg, and then out of that leg coming back down here into the same closet. I said, tell you what, I'll do an experiment. I'm going to do it my way. And I just want to see if it fixes it. If it doesn't fix it, I'll hook it up right back the way it had. It'd take me 5 minutes. And he was like, okay, I'm skeptical because, chat, said that, everything that I said, he said, well, chat didn't recommend hooking it up the way he was like, no, he didn't use the word chat though.
We're going to change the name of AI to ain't intelligent.
He used the word through my research, which is most of the people that say through my research, you are using chat. So I said, now let me just stop you right there. Was it through your research that you found this answer on Sonos.com, or did you just ask ChatGPT and this is what it said because you told Chat that you had 2 network switches? It was the latter, of course. So yeah, so he went through all that, and I said, okay, well, I'm gonna bet that I'm smarter than ChatGPT, so I'm gonna go ahead and hook it up my way, the way I've been doing it for 20 years, and we're just going to play with this for a minute. So I took one of those master runs, and I plugged it into the first Sonos amp, and then I took the next amp, bridged it off that, because each amp has 2 ports. I went out of the second amp I went out of the first amp into the second amp, out of that amp into the third amp, out of that amp into the fourth amp, out of that amp into the sixth.
And this with Wi-Fi turned off.
This is with Wi-Fi turned off. So on and so forth. So you had 10 Sonos amps in here that I had all chained together with one network line that goes up. That's the hot line.
Yep.
And worked beautifully. And he's like, well, I don't understand why it would work that way. I said, because the topology it doesn't take as long for these devices to communicate across this circuit, because it's all on one circuit. All you need to do is run a hotline to it.
Not even going back through the network switch.
Exactly.
Because yes, it's 2 ports, but it's still a switch.
Right. Exactly.
So each one is its own switch, can connect daisy chaining.
But they'll communicate faster because they recognize their own language, and you're not creating a whole bunch of unnecessary traffic across your network. So not only did it speed up his network in that area of the house, all of his Sonos, the music has yet to cut out, and this was a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem we had with AT&T and the Uverse TV was they call it multicast, and I think the first time we really came across it was we had somebody, and they had Sonos, and I think the ladies were playing poker or something, or whatever they play,
right.
Bridge probably, on the back patio, and they're listening to music, and then Mr. X comes home, plonks down, turns the TV on, Sonos dies, because
the traffic on
the AT&T
Uverse
multicast was flooding the network. And we spent some time, because nobody seemed to really have an answer, but you had to have special switches with something called IGMP snooping, which look for multicasts and only direct it to the TV port that it needs to be on.
And that's what those Netgear, because most Uverse guys put in those Netgear switches, because that was the switches that were supposed to be.
GS108s.
Yep, GS108s and GS116s and GS110s.
Lifetime warranty.
Yeah. No, and I love those. I love Netgear switches. I've always thought they were good. Them and TP-Link have always been really solid switches for me.
But I don't know if AT&T have moved away from that kind of...
They don't do Uverse anymore. Uverse is dead. They use that because DirecTV owns them now.
So what's their TV distribution?
DirecTV. Yeah, they've completely switched.
I've got a neighbor.
Didn't DirecTV buy a Dish?
No. Dish is still very much Dish, because we have people that use the...
I've got a neighbor that I'm going to be helping this week, putting in... we're actually putting in Eero 6 Plus, because all he's got is an AT&T box, which is in a closet at the back of the house, but he has still got Uverse. He's still got TV boxes that are connected with a Ethernet cable, because I went to check the house, and yes, he's got some structured cabling, but it was all being used to distribute phone signals, but we can get rid of that. We can use them. They're Cat5e sockets at both ends. So he has a cable that goes down to where his main TV is, and there is an Ethernet connection that goes to an AT&T box. And so that must still be the old style Uverse. I don't think it's all the latest and greatest.
Yeah. Well, no. So Uverse had this skinny box that looks a lot like this new DirecTV skinny box that they've kind of released and have come out with. So they've got a few things that are kind of doing that. So protect yourselves. If you need help, give us
protection.
Yeah, always use protection.
That's what she said.
And that's why Byron has kids. Yeah. No comment. No comment in the peanut gallery. All right.
That's a setup question.
Yeah, I you know what? I am proud of you, Byron. You have yet to throw a damn thing at Ray today. And Ray, how do you feel about that? Okay, thanks, Ray. All right. So protect yourself. Oh, there it went. I spoke too soon. So protect yourselves. If you need help with that, feel free to call the store. You can have Ian or myself kind of come out, take a look at what's going on. If you want to look at your network, if you have a sluggish network, so here's my rules on the network as Byron coughs my ears out. So here is my rules on the
Well, I
net.
can't hear a thing, so.
Oh, really? Okay, I thought the volume was hurting your ears, so I turned it down a little bit. Is that better?
It's the actual pressure of the ear pads.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So anyway, my viewpoint is different. I would say if you've had a network switch for longer than about 5 years, you need to switch it. No pun intended. You need to change it out. I mean, there's they're about $50 to $60 to do it. They're not super expensive.
Some the smaller ones like the 5-port,
yeah,
even TP-Link, which I think work quite well. They're like $12.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would always tell people, if you want to take a step further than that, then cut the heads off your Cat 5, put new heads on, all kinds of stuff. I mean, those things get burned out too. They have pins that short out because of the voltage, especially if it's a PoE Cat 5.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we're going to take the show into our next topic about cables do matter. So Byron and I, we talk about this quite a bit. I have always said in my life that I am the worst cable salesperson on the planet because it's something that I've struggled to believe in. And don't get that twisted in the wrong way. I think cables do make a difference in as far as quality. I don't necessarily know if they can make an audible difference or not. I know you can measure things with a meter. I know you can measure signal strength with an oscilloscope and whatnot, but is it really a value add? So here's what I'll say, and I'll let kind of Byron take it from here after that. My viewpoint on the cables is you're not going to ever regret having a good quality cable. You're just not. It's going to do what it's supposed to do. They usually have a better warranty than some of these other cable companies do. I know AudioQuest and Tributaries have a lifetime cable warranty. So if you do get hit by lightning or get smacked, they just swap out the cable for you. So it's kind of worth it on that. So there's a couple different variations and routes. So the longer the run, the more the quality of cable matters. And because the length of the run becomes a situation to where you have resistance involved, it needs to travel a further distance. So you want to make sure it's a good strand, good quality cable, either solid core or whatever to carry the distance. So you're not going to have signal loss as it goes over a longer distance, or use a heavier gauge of cable. So now, if you want to go buy one of these $30,000 pair of speaker cables, have at it, Thundercat. I'll happily sell you those. However, if you ask me about those speaker cables before I swipe your card, my head's gonna drop, and I'm gonna because again,
Honest Joe,
it's one of those things where, hey, there's nothing wrong with having nice stuff. There's nothing wrong with having nice stuff. It's the more silver a cable has in it, the better it's going to be. Silver is the better conductor than copper. It's also a better conductor than gold. Gold is used, if you see gold on a package, it's typically, they use that because it sounds sexy on a label because it's gold, but it does not conduct as well as copper. Right.
Let me get the physics behind it. So when we come to cables, people think just cables is cables. So let's look at the physics behind it. They got two main type of cables that's for power sides. You got what they call oxygen-free copper cables, and you got copper-clad aluminum cables. Copper-clad aluminum cables is you got aluminum core with copper wrapped around it. Oxygen-free is 99% oxygen-free is all copper. Which one is the better conductors? Copper-clad aluminum or all copper?
Copper, I would say.
Exactly, because aluminum does not collect electricity as good as copper. And that fast forward to a conversation me and you had when I say on a speaker, from the voice call to the terminal, The wire is about what 18 gauge? No, about 13 gauge. Say, just hypothetically speaking, to give a size reference. But it's 100% silver, and so some people want to argue that, oh, if I got a 10-inch woofer, I need at least an 8 gauge cable going to the woofer. Well, maybe so if you're running 30 feet, but if you're running 2 or 3 feet, does it really matter?
So here's what I'll say on that. The biggest argument you see on forums on cable is the excuse is, well, if the cable on the inside of the speaker is an itty bitty gauge, then why does it matter? Well, there's a reason why it's a different gauge. And a lot of times when they use, and here's the thing, cost has nothing to do with it. I'm going to say that one more time. Cost has nothing to do with it. What does have to do with it is that particular gauge. They have calculated that particular gauge of cable to create certain frequencies that come across that crossover to get a particular tonality of the speaker. Now, everybody's going to shoot arrows. Well, wait a minute, Justin. You said cable doesn't matter and it doesn't affect tonality. To an extent is what I said. But no, what I said is have at it, Thundercat. If you want to get a good graded cable, no problem. Get a good graded cable. Put the right tires on the car. But,
so the cables from the voice coil to the terminals, hypothetically, in the case, are silver. What are the voice coils?
Copper. In most cases, copper.
So you got copper.
If I were to rip most speakers apart, it's going to be a copper coil, unless it's a Wilson Audio, and then it's silver.
So we're going.
Just why they cost $100,000.
So we're going from copper to silver to what? Aluminum push-button internals.
Well, but they're doing that.
It's a calculated.
Well, it's all calculated based on frequency response. They're trying to create the frequency response with the gauge of cable to create a tonality out of using different types of metal. Because the same argument could be said for tweeters. You've got silk dome, aluminum dome, beryllium, copper. You've got carbon, aluminum blend, whatever. But what I'll say is this. In most of my cinemas that I'm wiring for, I use 14.4 or 16.4. And then I twist the gauges together, and that creates either an 11 gauge cable or an 8 gauge cable, depending on how you're doing it.
Now, 90% of those are going through, it's not going through subs, right?
That's just all the channels. I wire every channel that way. No, subs we're going to use either XLR for long distances or RCA, unless it's a path. Like if you go in the Beast, we have those column subs. Those I'm running all 14 gauge cable to.
What's
14.4.
wrong with just running some 12 gauge Romex there?
Nothing, except most of the time Romex isn't shielded properly for it. You can get crosstalk between the two. I know that sounds weird because they're like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean it's not shielded? You've got a hot wire and a neutral wire, and you've got a ground wire, but it's the shielding is different on that.
Yeah, and
it's a different type. But you could hook it up with a freaking coat hanger if you want to.
Can you get shielded Romex?
Sure you can.
They make a cable that's like Romex, but it's called CLX.
Yeah.
So CLX has the insulated wires inside. Then they have a aluminum,
the metal braid. So you have to use that in commercial, right? Commercial.
And then they have aluminum housing with rubber.
If you're talking about wiring in speakers, they're in a fixed position. Whatever they're going back to is in a fixed position. It's not like you need to move the wires around. So solid core wires are going to be, in my mind, give you a better signal quality than a stranded wire.
You know how much Romex is right now?
Nope.
100 feet costs like $250.
Yep. $250
for a 100-foot roll.
For 100 foot, that's a 100-foot roll, and it's in a locked cage.
Now I know a guy that we can meet at the behind the little Wendy's over there. They give you a great deal.
Well, and that's the thing is yes, to your point, you could. I mean, people say, "Oh, you could use lamp cord, or you could use it." You could absolutely
L wire.
You could absolutely use any of those things. But does cable make a difference? So at some point, I'm going to invite somebody like David Ellington on here that he worked for a lot of these companies, and he could tell you that he thinks his belief is that everything makes a subtle difference. There's not one thing that's going to make a night and day difference between power filtration, changing out your power cords from the stock power cord to the normal power cord. I mean, it gets wild. They got these little rubberized porcelain things that you can put on the floor to keep your cables off the floor to keep it from absorbing ground interference from electromagnetic fields that come off the ground. I mean, it gets wild. I mean, it gets pretty wild with some of that stuff.
Me and Justin had a conversation, and so
was money involved?
Well, not this one. This is one of the rare few that was not. So it was one guy told me that, so I got a pair of 10-inch subs running on 16-gauge wire. And he was like, man, if you put some 8-gauge on there, I guarantee they'd be louder. Now, we talking about a 2.5-foot run?
No, they wouldn't.
No.
Now, if you were talking about an 80-foot run, yes, without a doubt, it would be louder. But a 2-foot run, no, you're not going to see. And that's the thing, is the length is what matters. So here's what I'll say: this,
because the longer the wire. See, we done corrupt Ian. He's in the peanut gallery now.
Size matters. Yes, size matters. Why, hello there.
It's no longer the motion of the boat.
Say hello to his little friend.
Let's all throw peanuts at Ray.
So here's what I'll say. Here's the thing, guys. If cable doesn't matter, then why change from Cat 5e to Cat 6? If cable doesn't matter.
Well, okay. Brings up another question.
Well, if it doesn't matter,
your house is wired from the builder at Cat 5.
Yep.
We got Cat 8 now. What point justifies you ripping all the Cat 5 out and putting in the Cat 8?
I wouldn't. Hell no. You know how much trouble. Here's the other thing, though, Byron. Let me sprinkle a little on your BS parade on that one, as far as some of these service providers that are coming out here selling 2 gigabit and 10 gigabit internet in this area, which they're there and people are buying it. People are buying it left and right. Oh yeah, no, I just upgraded to 2 gigabit internet. Oh yeah.
You never see it. You never see it.
You're never gonna get it.
Even if you get it, are you using it?
No.
Well, first of all,
your machine won't do it
unless you got a 10 gigabit switch or a 30 gigabit switch in your house. It's not.
You want to download like 600 movies onto your Kaleidoscope,
you still can't do it.
Well, here's the
network. Your network card on the PC or the network card on the Kaleidoscope is only a gig.
So here's the funny part about it.
There are 10s.
There are 10 gigabit on Kaleidoscope, but you got to get the right one.
The more expensive one. Sorry.
He has the most expensive player they have. So
no, they still got the V.
And no, it's just bigger storage. There's really no different.
But in general, your average family these days is going to do fine with up to a gigabit internet.
I ran this whole store up until last year with 300 upload, 300 download. The whole freaking store, Ian. How many TVs do I have in this store?
But ain't nobody here but you.
No, that's not true. We're doing demos with all the TV. When you come in during the day, all the TVs are running. There's music playing. There's, But
that's the point. What is a 4K streaming channel using?
7 gigabit.
Yeah.
About on average, about 7 gigabit.
So even if you got like,
I'm glad you said that.
5 people in one house that are all watching different TVs and playing games at the same time, how much bandwidth are they using? it's not going to hit the gigabit.
maybe 200.
Yeah, they're not going
If
to
that.
hit the gigabit.
So what it does is it just opens the cop to a bigger freeway, but you're never going to utilize it. And that's what I'm telling people. It's like, stop falling for these contracts that are, you're going to get 2 gigabit. You know what it reminds me of? Remember the dial-up days?
Yeah.
Back in the days when computer build well, computer builders used to sell 33.6 and 56 and 48.8 modems. Yeah. But all you could get was 16 from a service. So who gives a crap if you had a 56K modem, because you're only getting 16?
It depends who your service provider was.
Well, I'm just saying, before DSL, like before the DSL stuff happened, you were only getting like, maybe 16
On a dial-up.
on a dial-up.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 8. It was like 8 because Bentwater. I remember in Bentwater, those poor people were so stuck. They couldn't get faster than like 15 on a household, and this was only about 5 years ago where they just started getting fiber.
Dude, 5 years ago, I want to say about 5 or 6 years ago, they just got 3G in Mamou, Louisiana.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Everybody else is on 5G, and they just got 3G.
Jeez. So there's another fun announcement for, well, no, I got it. Just hold on to that. Okay, so going back to cable for a minute is, I always go with a high quality cable. I don't go over the top. I don't go basic.
Shielded.
I just go with a high quality, good grade SCP or ICE or tributary speaker cable, unless somebody wants something heavier than that. If they ask for heavier than that, I'll provide heavier than that. But typically, the stuff I put in there is typically about $1.25 a foot. It's not cheap, but it's not super expensive either. But you can get stuff out there that's like $15-20 a foot. There's stuff out there that's insane. But so for the people that say, oh, what's the point using high-end cable? They're just using itty-bitty gauge wire inside of your speaker. There's reasons for that. There's a reason they're using the gauge of wire. It's to get the right sound out of the speaker, and that's why they're doing it. That's why the gauge for the bass drivers are different than the tweeter, and it's different for the mids, and it's different for that. But that argument's stupid to me. I've always thought that argument was dumb. But as far as the network stuff, it's like, okay, if you don't believe cables make a difference, then you can't say that if I'm building a home that I should put Cat 6 or Cat 7 in if cables don't make a difference. Because the difference between a Cat 6 and a Cat 5 and a Cat 7 is the copper. It's the gauge. It's the tighter twist. It'll go carry information over longer distances with less labor on all of those things. So I do believe in cables to an extent. I also think there's a lot of stupidity and placebo crap that gets sprinkled into it. But if you want to do that and have fun with it, then knock yourself out. There's nothing wrong with that. It's
you cannot build a $50,000 theater with dollar store RCAs. That's just not. That's just totally.
Here's the thing. I use Megami. You know why? Because I use Megami in Abbey Road. If it's good enough for freaking Bruce Springsteen and the Beatles and all the guys that go record out in Abbey Road, and Paul McCartney and Zeppelin and all those dudes, then it's good enough for a theater, And it's just like, it's still not. They're not cheap. They're about $80 a cable, so they're not cheap. But it's still not as expensive as a $300 XLR cable.
And the Pullman cable is Rhino Audio.
Rhino or HOSA, HOSA. Yeah, HOSA is another one that will do that. Well, but in car audio and in bike audio, you have to go as shielded because you have the battery. You have the alternator that you're going to get the buzz through.
Wait, the bike don't have the alternator, though. Bike got a stator.
Oh, okay. So, but I mean, but car audio,
yes,
does. Okay.
Yes, you got to account for the wine.
So nothing charges the battery on a bike.
It's a stator. It's different.
Okay.
It's not.
I think even now, I'm thinking back 25 years, maybe, since I first put in Cat 6 cabling when it first came out, and the problem back then was you couldn't do it on a smaller radius than something like 12 feet. So if you wanted Cat 6 cable to go bend round and go a different way, you had to find somewhere where you could make a 12 foot quadrant of that cable, which made it quite difficult, although it was all underfloor cabling.
You know, we used to call that back in the day, Justin.
What's that?
Thick Ethernet. It was serious. That's what it was called. It was called thick Ethernet.
But here's the other thing,
It wasn't that much thicker. No, it wasn't that much thicker.
Have you ever
was
cut
orange.
one of those pre-made patch cables apart? Have you ever snipped the tip off one of them? The gauge is awful. It's like an IR emitter. It's very thin, and it's really light gauge. And to me, something like that has a high failure point when you're running high voltage through it. You know, if you're running 30 watts through it or up to 60 watts through it, you better make sure you're making a good grade of cable.
Has improved since then. You don't need to have that radius. You can bend it around like Cat 5e, but
we're up to 80 now.
I remember when we were building Garner's house.
In what respect is your residential property going to need anything better than 5e, which is in...
Well, that was back to the question we had earlier. You know, again, just like coax, RG58 versus RG6. At what point did what will make you want to change? When it stopped working? Because that's the only reason I got
If something, it's like you said, if something goes wrong,
I have never wired a house with RG59 though, like ever. Maybe that was before my time. I've always wired it with Quad Shield RG6.
Yeah. Well,
unless it was camera wire, like Siamese camera
58
wire.
was way back when.
Yeah,
that was a long time.
Yeah,
but Cat 6 in my house right now. The only Cat 6 cables I got in my house right now is what he put in there to run my cameras.
Yeah.
Everything else
what
is
Jason
5e.
Put in there.
Yeah, what Jason put in there. I'm sorry. Yeah. But but everything else, the house was wired with Cat 5.
Yep.
And in one instance where we had a camera that was here, it was built in the wall, changed the end to try to put a new camera. It didn't work. So instead of trying to troubleshoot why it didn't work, hell, put a blank plate, put it up high, you run a whole new cable.
So I'll tell a story on myself, and you can say I'm full of crap or not, but AudioQuest came in. Now, actually, AudioQuest has come in a couple times, and one of the times Ray was in here is when Ray and I first met, or when Ray and we had met prior, but we had just started talking. And by the way, Ray's never bought anything here, so maybe you need to talk up to Ray, and he'll give you some tips about how to not buy things.
Yeah, hey, I have it figured out. Just don't watch Top Gun.
Oh, there you go. So the thing about it was AudioQuest came in here, and he brought a $8,000 power filtration power center in here, and the whole rig was probably about 10 grand worth of cables between the RCAs, the speaker wire, the power cables that he plugged everything into, and then the power filtration system. And so he plugged it in. And you could definitely hear an audible difference up until in the way they do it is they put it all in, and then they remove one thing at a time to where you can see it kind of takes something away from it, and then it takes something away from it, and then it takes something away from it, and takes something away. So I called one of my friends that has a really picky ear, and he came in to listen. His name, he's a heart surgeon, and he came in, and he and I listened together, and he said,
I bet he uses Beats headphones.
No, he actually uses something that's way more esoteric than the stuff that was put in by AudioQuest. And so here's what we came down to. We liked the power cables, the AudioQuest power cables hooked into the cheap power conditioner, or the stock power cables hooked into the AudioQuest power conditioner, but not both. Because the more stuff we started hooking into it, we started losing bass. Like we started losing our low frequency. No freaking clue as to why. But our bass on the speakers started to disappear. And we weren't running subs. It was just 2 channels. It was just 2 speakers. But the low started disappearing. The mid came up a little bit, probably because the low was getting squished. But the only thing that did that was when we had them all hooked into one another, as opposed to using one or the other. Then the bass came back. You still got the clean audio effect, and the bass came back. So it does. There is a science behind it, and it does work.
Black magic.
Yeah. It just, and it's not placebo. I mean, I had a Decibel X meter on there's an app on your phone called Decibel X, and I had a tripod, and I had my phone that was measuring it on a tripod, and you can see it on the graph. You could see the frequency sweep on the graph. Yep, there it is, right there. Byron's got it on his phone. And it's a phenomenal little tool to use, but you could see it making a difference on the graph as far as certain frequencies. But we saw that on the frequency curve, that we saw it hit that low frequency. So it was actually quite interesting. So here's what I'll say. It's not a bad investment. Yes. Can you get into stupid territory? 1,000% can get it into stupid territory. Absolutely. Without a doubt, you can get it into stupid territory. But, what I like to say is put the tires on the car that make sense to put on the car. If you're driving a Maserati, put the right tires on it. You're driving a performance car, put performance tires on it. Unless you just want it to be quieter, then you put a quieter tire on it. If you're driving off-road, put a good off-road tire on it. But that's what I'm saying. Same thing with your system. If it's a high-end system, use the tire that it's expected to use. Because, again, it is the last thing. It is the resistance point between the amplifier and the speaker, or your source and your interconnects. I like using a good HDMI cable because the heads are better on the more expensive cables than they are the cheaper cables.
I learned the hard way.
Well, yeah, exactly. And it's usually about $100 cable. I don't usually there's no reason to go with a diamond cable that's an $1,100 cable. It's just, I don't see the value add and stuff like that. So again, I'm the worst if you want to turn a client off, you start talking to them about cables and upgrading cables and high-end cables. So is what I would say. But anyway, I would ask Ray his questions, but he's not here.
You can. We have Virtual Way.
Oh, Virtual Way?
The cardboard.
Oh. Do we have a Samsoni Ray? Is that what it is?
Logan Martin Ray.
A Logan Martin. A Logan Martin Ray. Oh. That one announcement I was going to say is I saw this morning that Amazon Prime is no longer, as of yesterday, will no longer let you play 4K content unless you pay $5 more. That just started yesterday. Yep.
Trash.
Yeah. No. So if you want 4K through Amazon, all the more reason to switch to an Apple TV.
And I noticed when I turned on day before yesterday that they've completely redesigned the Amazon Prime, the Fire TV home screen.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, reinvented that wheel again, and it's like, huh? What?
Yeah. Well, it's probably because you're not paying for the premium thing.
No, they've just reinvented the.
Oh, they just reorganize everything. So it's like going into the supermarket when they moved all the crap around on the shelf, and now you can't find anything.
Buy you a Hisense.
What does that have to do with anything?
I just thought it out.
Oh, okay. Byron loves his Hisense. So
No, I love the price.
Hisense nonsense.
Hisense nonsense.
No,
so
Hisense with a nonsense price.
So I'm converting people to TCL TVs one thing at a time. 100
Hisense with a nonsense
So
price.
we're going to be doing a video of the install?
Yeah, if we want to. That means you got to clean your room out.
Well, yeah, I know. It's getting there.
I thought we was doing a live video of the Kaleidoscape installs.
You realize gonna. So you think that's a big thing, but
not.
you realize it's gonna
Just to
take
plug in
2
a couple
minutes.
of boxes. And
No, but the under the scene was to convince Ian to get a projector. Well, he got the TV already. I'm sorry.
Oh well, I mean,
Yeah,
he hasn't taken delivery of it. He's just the TV's in Houston.
Yeah.
So we
I'm
was
just
going
waiting for the date.
It was going to let him
Save the date.
Let him come and see if the rainbow effect
On your project, it won't, because yours isn't a DLP. Yours is an LCD, so it doesn't use a color wheel. Yeah, like DLP is an older technology. It's a really good technology, but it's some people are susceptible.
This is an LCD. The ones I see are more LSD.
It looks like LSD when you see it. So AWOL, Valerian. There's a bunch of these internet-born projector companies out there. All of those are DLP. Yeah, that's what are you trying to do? 4. You're number 4. Yep. Yeah. So all of these are my ADHD kicks in every time you cough, man, because I'm like, what? It's like, man, I tried to mute it. Leave me alone. There he goes again.
I can't win for losing.
There he goes again. You can't win for losing.
Say hello to my little friend.
Say hello to his little friend.
Perhaps we could...
Old Byron whipping out his little friend all the time.
Video broadcast from
Emphasize
the
on
high-tech
little.
media room.
Yeah, we could do a video. I mean, I could bring the board and the mics over there. It's not hard to do that.
Well, can you just record it on this high-tech iPhone and translate it?
Yeah, I think so.
What did he say?
The high-tech iPhone.
And
I don't know.
translate it?
He's half asleep half the time. Anybody else got anything else?
Well, you did.
I think it'll be the shortest show ever.
And
What?
we're past 2 hours.
Yeah. Usually we've been pushing the 3-hour mark pretty hard lately. Yeah.
So, were there any other questions from the listening audience?
Most of them I think we fielded.
Did we get any fan mail this week?
And you forgot to set up the poll.
I did not set up the stripper poll. No. Let's see here.
Hercules.
No, most of them were most of them were just kind of redundant questions. It was more statements than questions on it. I got a lot of hate mail on the rules. Then there was, it was asking Ray what he thought of the rules, and which Ray's already answered that. And then he had some really hard questions. Like he had some really.
That's why he didn't come.
Yeah, that's why he's been. That's why he hasn't come twice.
Questions are too hard.
I did talk to Matt Scarborough from Kaleidoscape. He wants to do an event, a video event with us. So with Kaleidoscape, and we're going to initiate. Every year we have what's called the Kaleidoscape Challenge. So the Kaleidoscape Challenge is we do an A/B comparison between Apple and Kaleidoscape, or your media server and Kaleidoscape, and it's an open challenge. Let the gauntlet be thrown down. If you want us to come to your house, we'll bring a Kaleidoscape to your house and we'll just show you on your own system. We're gonna win. Just be prepared to buy one, because it's just what's gonna happen. And Byron's praying to Jesus right now. I'm not sure what he's doing.
Because I was supposed to get
I wouldn't be buying
demo
one.
and I never got it. And I just jumped in the waters, unsight unseen.
Yeah. There you go. No, Ian's not going to buy one because he's got 2,500 movies that he would have to convert or rebuy yet again.
But
Yeah.
that's right, because you can't attach storage off of the side.
No.
I'm just averse to spending the kind of money that Kaleidoscape costs.
Yeah.
Because, I'm averse to spending money.
Unless he's on medication.
Unless he's sleeping, half sleep. Unless he's half sleep.
Unless he's on pain meds, and then
that's not going to happen.
But yeah, no. So we're gonna do the
for a couple of
Kaleidoscape
years.
Challenge, and Matt's gonna come on the show. He's just been traveling a lot. There's a lot of shaking and baking.
So he's
going
coming on our show, or we're going on his show?
He's coming on. They don't have a show, so he's coming on our show. What we're gonna do? It's gonna be a video side of thing. We're gonna video it, and then we're going to.
Tell him to bring movie coupons.
Then we're gonna do the normal Kaleidoscape. We're going to do normal Technology Rocks podcast. We're going to try to get Rick Henthorne on from Acurus Aragon. I've already talked to him. I talked to him earlier this week. He's got some top secret subwoofers that he's working on just for home cinema, that where he's outfitted his room with 18 subwoofers, I think was the count. Yeah, 18. Yeah, no, and I haven't heard it yet, so we may do a show over there. That would be kind of fun to kind of go check his stuff out and see what it sounds like.
Mess with your friend Justin. I'm going to say, Justin, you should buy you some Wilkin Bowers speakers.
Wilkins Bowers, Jesus. If
And
he
gonna
sells
call-
those speakers,
and he gonna call Justin. Justin, what about these new Wilcom Bauer speakers? Where can I get them at?
if he sells those speakers, it'll be the biggest mistake he ever makes. It's just I do not want him to sell those Bowers. Those are those 6'8", the Justin, the UPS guy, Justin Byron. Yeah, he's got the 683s, and those are
he's a branch of us.
He's some kind of love child by the sound of it.
Oh God, can you not? Jesus, there's a visual that nobody ever needed.
Virtual.
No, he's in between. You see, like it's like you say you go all the way left, or all the way right. The other Justin is down the middle.
Oh my God,
He's the halfway point.
yeah. So, and then there's always a Saturday invite to Cilantro's. So if you want to meet Lena and Ron, they're at Cilantro's every Saturday.
I would have come yesterday, bad company.
I was up till 2 a.m, knee deep in wires.
That's early.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, no.
not when you've been up since from 9 to 3.
He was watching
the
F1.
race didn't even start until 2 a.m. in the morning.
Dear
Nap during the
God.
day.
Live from China.
That's dedication right there. And then I did talk to Lyle and Jeannie. She hasn't fixed her modem thing, but she's got a couple other questions for the team. Well, that would be fun to get them at Cilantro's too. That'd be a lot of fun.
We can go mobile. Road trip.
Let's broadcast live from Cilantro's.
live from Cilantro's. Technology rocks.
We have to do the disclaimer. We're not responsible after the first 20 minutes of what might come out of our mouths due to the alcohol intake.
It depends on if Jason's serving or not. If Jason's serving, I'll say I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, just sleep in the car outside.
Yeah, exactly. No, that'll be fun too. So anyway, and then I am kind of talking to Shelly off and on about maybe a wine and vinyl round, whatever volume we're on, and to me, vinyl just kind of pigeonholes it in too much. It just needs to be.
Then you need all that equipment.
Wine and music is what I would say. Just streaming. We can still do high-end speakers and stuff, but it just like the vinyl part is just it.
You got to love the crackle.
It was fun, but it's like you gotta have everything on everything, and you got so many things to bring, and then there's always some idiot that wants to listen to Oasis, and
You gotta love the crackle. Dun, dun.
Is he all right up there?
I'm not sure what kind of voiceover that was, but
That was Lord Byron's vinyl takeover.
that was the
interpretation
great
of the-
interpretation of Mr. Byron Wallace.
Interpretation of the crackle.
Yes, Mr. Byron Wallace will be playing the kazoo a little later. Yeah, no, so
Or eating his cereal.
See, Justin, you start your band, I'll be the best hype man.
So we'll actually start a bet whether Ray shows up next week, because there's always that. What are you going to cover next week? What do you guys got any ideas for next week?
It's a secret.
I physically will not be here next week. Physically.
Oh, so
It'll just be you and me, because
No.
Ray will probably be in
I
Austin.
can call in, but I physically will
I'll
not.
see if I can get a pinch hitter. Just see if throw somebody in here and see. It'd be fun.
Get Galvin. Put him on the spot.
Oh, Gavin would be. You know what? Gavin is actually quite hilarious if you can get him to say more than 5 words. He's actually
You'd
fun.
expect to be paid as well, though.
No, not really. I mean,
Put him in that chair right there. I guarantee I get 5 words out of him.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
I guarantee.
No, you start arguing about Michael Jordan or sports, and then you tell him Michael Jordan was the best ball player there ever is. Oh, you can't get him to shut up because it'll just piss him off.
Because he think LeBron James.
Oh, he's a LeBron nut. Yeah, he's a LeBron. I think LeBron's a crybaby. I can't stand him.
I would kill him with stats.
I can't stand him.
In fact, I get Braylon to argue with him because he's a Steph Curry fan.
Oh, Curry's good too. All right. Well, I guess this will be our shortest podcast ever.
No, it won't.
And well, hey, I'm proud of us because we kept it under 3 hours.
We're probably about third longest.
Yeah, it's true. Well, no, last was almost 3 hours, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then, so.
The people are probably so bored, we need to put a TLDR at the front.
Here's your disclaimer for extreme. I mean, hell, Byron sleeps half the time, so
Yeah.
you know.
I sleep
By the
with
way,
half,
you do
so-
not pull that off. If you are sleeping in church, you are not fooling anyone. If you fall asleep in church,
I don't try to.
I don't try.
Wait
to.
till he gets here.
No, I do it over there too.
I don't try to. So we'll see if Ray gets on. Byron is going to be MIA next week, so Ian and I get to throw shit at him. Oh, sorry, where's my beep? Beep. All right. And so we'll get to throw stuff at him. Maybe we should have a parental advisory episode. That would be really fun.
It should all be parental advisory.
Yeah, just because it was just an episode where everybody just free falls and curses the whole time. That would be funny.
It happens.
But anyway, so we'll see what we get on next week. And you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. And we will see you in a bit. That's a show.